Hi. I feel like every time I make one of these videos, I look like I live in the Arctic or something. The amount of layers and hot water bottles and generally woolly type things. No woolly mammoth though. I feel like my life might be better if I had a woolly mammoth in it. Just a thought. I wanted to make a video because my mind has been very busy for the last few days. I've been thinking about lots of different things. There are things going on in my life that I'm not going to talk about because they're not my stories to tell, but they're still affecting me. They're in my life and I care about them. So they've been sort of buzzing around my head. And but I didn't know how to make a video and talk about the things that are going on without talking about the things that are going on. I don't want to talk about other people's lives or problems or anything like that. I wanted to I don't know, it just doesn't seem right to sort of talk about other people and what they're going through directly. So to kind of get all the stuff that's in my head out of my head, I'm going to try and talk about it from my perspective and from my own experience as well, which is, as we can all agree, I think, is how you get a perspective, is by your own experiences. I've talked a lot about mental illness on this channel before. Most notably, I would say both my birth trauma that I went through as well as the eating disorder issues that I have, or just general eating issues that I have. And I think I've touched on this before, but I'm not sure I've really spoken about it properly. When I was a teenager, like many teenagers, I suffered with depression. It didn't actually get diagnosed or dealt with in any way until I was in my late teens. But I had it, and it was only with the hindsight that I got from counselling that I was able to see how long it had been there, and how much it had affected the way that I lived and the choices that I made. There's something that happens in puberty that I can't quite understand. I don't have the scientific knowledge to piece it all together, but I've known quite a few people who were one person when they were 10 or 11, and then puberty hit them like a piano falling on their heads, and they became an entirely different version of themselves, and it takes such a whole toll. I mean, obviously there's all the hormonal changes that happen in your teen years, and again, I can only talk about this from my own experience of becoming, starting my period and becoming a teenage girl, and a teenage cis girl for that matter as well. I can only imagine how hard it must be for anyone who's trans, but it's really hard. You go through so much, and on top of that, there's all the social etiquette of it all, the awkwardness of it all. I still remember that feeling of coming back from summer break and suddenly clocking that it wasn't socially acceptable to play with your toys anymore. I still really like playing with toys. I really liked my Barbies and my Polly Pockets and just all my toys. They were great. They were really good fun. I had a really good time playing with them. And so then there was a big part of me that wasn't ready to give that up and didn't want to give that up, and still got so much joy from them. Even until I was 13, 14, I still wanted those things. But kind of knowing that wasn't okay socially, and that I couldn't admit that to anybody because I would be ostracized by my peers. I mean, that was happening anyway, but I like to cling to the hope that I would still be accepted at some point. So I stopped having people over. I stopped having friends over because I didn't want them to see that I had toys in my bedroom. And I think probably in turn that meant that I stopped getting invited over to people's houses because they assumed that I wasn't interested anymore. And that's not the case. I was interested in being their friend. I just also wanted to still play with dolls. I just wanted to. And to be honest with you, I can't wait for my kids to get more and more into toys. I mean, Rufus is really into Lego right now, and it's so exciting. I get to play with Lego. Love it. And they love dressing up. We get to do costumes. And I mean, I don't like wearing costumes. I like wearing woolly hats. I don't like wearing costumes. But I enjoy that they like wearing costumes, and I get to be in their fanciful worlds with them. That's great fun. But, you know, seriously, it's the best part of having kids is getting to play those games. So, yeah, I guess I think I'm quite sorry that I had to leave my childhood behind, at least publicly. And it's so incredibly difficult, that transition. And everyone is struggling. You think at the time you're the only one, but every single person is struggling. Every single person is finding it hard. And some are better at hiding it than others. I was terrible at hiding it. And I think that is probably why I ended up with very few friends. Because I had two ways of dealing with my inability to hide my feelings. One was kind of going over the top and, you know, desperately trying to fit in by being, like, saying that I had a boyfriend. I genuinely did that thing that people joke about. I said I had an out-of-town boyfriend. I had a friend who was a boy who lived out of town. We never were. He's lovely though. Turned into a very nice young man. But no, I never had anything like that going on. I wasn't even interested in that kind of stuff. I didn't want a boyfriend. I didn't want that world. I didn't want makeup. I didn't want to worry about fashion. But I used to play the game. I used to pretend that I was interested in those things, and I used to use the language that they were using. But because it wasn't who I was, and I wasn't comfortable with those conversations, it came across as fake. And, you know, kids can read that. Kids can see that. And so if I wasn't doing that, my other option was to be like, I'm too cool for school. And I was actually a bit of a bitch at times. And again, it's with hindsight that I can see that that's how I behaved, and I can see that that would have turned people off. I was really crap at the transition. I really, really struggled with it. And, you know, I don't 100% blame them for not wanting to be my friend. It would have been nice if some of them had been a bit more compassionate and understanding, but then they're going through their own crap. So, you know, can I really blame them? So, I look awful, by the way. I keep noticing how bad I look. I'm really sorry about that. But, you know, it's 10 o'clock at night, so this is what you get. I don't know, I want to reach out and help all teenagers out there. And remember that thing that was happening, God, I didn't even know how many years ago now. It Gets Better, and it was aimed at children or teenagers that were realizing that they were homosexual. I think it was just homosexual, possibly trans, I can't remember now, but definitely the LGBT community. And it was about letting them know that yes, it's going to be it could be really hard right now. Your family may not be accepting you, your friends may not be accepting you, but it will get better. It does get better, and you know, you're going to be fine. And it was trying to sort of encourage them to keep going and stay strong. And it was because there was a huge amount of teenage suicides related to the LGBT community, and it was in reaction to that. But I kind of feel like I want the same thing just for all teenagers, really, because it is a really hard time, and it is a very confusing time, and there's a real struggle going on. And if you're that way inclined anyway, to be a little bit of a depressive, or someone who is going to have some kind of negative behavioural disorder, it's a really, really tough time, because you don't even necessarily have the, I don't want to say strength, you don't necessarily have the natural skills to deal with it. And that's really hard. That's really, really hard. And I don't know, I just want to reach out to all teenagers out there and just say it will get better. It does. I mean, if I can go from where I was 20 years ago, 15 years, let's say 15 years ago, because then I'll be kind to myself. But if I can go from where I was 15 years ago to where I am today, where, you know, most of the time I'm actually a pretty happy person, and I am very, very happy in my life. I'm very content in my life with my husband and my 2 kids and the friends that I've got, and just generally the life I've got. If I can go from where I was to this, then anyone can. Teenagers I meet today have to deal with things like social media in a way that, you know, I didn't have to at all. I mean, I think MySpace started when I was, or at least I got onto MySpace when I was 20 years old. I want to say 20. Could even be 19, but not much younger than that. And, you know, I didn't have to deal with social media as a teenager, and I can only imagine how incredibly difficult that is. It's bad enough as a 31-year-old. But it will get better, and you can do it, and there are people that care, even if they're not apparent to you right now. You really are. I care. I care a lot. I know lots of people are out there just like me who care a lot about you, and they want you to be okay. There are organisations that are incredible and will help as well. I'm going to link a couple of them below. They offer counselling over the phone, in person. You can reach them anytime. Some are affiliated with religious organisations or have a religious background, but please don't let that deter you if you're a bit dodgy with a religion. Please don't let that deter you, because when it comes down to it, just want you to be okay. That's all. They're not going to try and make you join any kind of church or anything, or any kind of cult. They just want you to be okay. That's all they want, and that's all any of us really want, is for you to be okay. So I guess that's what I'm saying to the teenagers out there. If any one of you is watching, we love you, we care about you, and we want you to be okay. And that's all I have to say about that for now. Anyway, I'll probably talk about it some more, because my head doesn't turn off. I love it if I had an off switch sometimes. Alright, well, it's now 10:15 and I'm really tired, and I should probably go to bed. The cat's asleep, the kids are asleep, the husband's awake still, waiting for me probably. Alright, well, I will talk to you all again soon,